Hello, my name is Griffin and welcome to my Capstone presentation, Ethereal 12, a virtual reality trip to a far-off moon. Let's begin. So let's start with the problem. I might be wondering, what's the problem with space? What's wrong with it? Well, there's nothing wrong with it. It's more like, what's wrong with us getting to it? Now, let's start with, it's the last great frontier. Now, that might seem pretty superficial, but we actually do need to get there. But right now, billionaires seem to be ruling the world of space travel just as a way to flaunt their money and power and what they can do with it. Now, that's not how space should be thought of, and it's especially damaging for young minds who might want to go to space. They're not billionaires. But space is actually about the scientists and the scientific endeavor of getting to space, where young minds really should be. How can I use this knowledge and science to help better humanity as a whole? It's necessary for our future because of possible issues with climate change or near-Earth objects that threaten to hit us every day. It's necessary to get off-world in the near future. Now let's talk about science fiction and its friend real-world space travel, all the way back to Jules Verne's From Earth to the Moon and how that inspired us to go to space. And then also the modern inventions inspired by science fiction that also helped us in space travel. Now let's start with my research. What is VR? Virtual reality is the best way to demonstrate this project. Now, how does it work with children? How do they relate? They can learn faster with it. They can adapt to it quicker. And their minds understand the virtual world more than ours. They see it as more real. Now, virtual reality itself is a headset that the user puts over their eyes to block all other visual stimuli. And then it projects two slightly off perspective images in their eyes, allowing for a 3D effect, and then has accelerometers and gyroscopes inside it that allow the viewer to actually look around the digital environment for a full immersion experience. Another part of my research was how science fiction influenced space travel in the past. Like I mentioned, Jules Verne's book inspired Goddard to create the first liquid fuel rocket, and there's been many other inspirations like that that made us want to go to space. And my third area was, what do we need to figure out about future space travel? And the answer to that was many things. We have some solutions or possible solutions, but they're not optimized and have the chance of not working for long-term space travel, which is where we need to be. And that's where my capstone comes in. What is my capstone? Well, let's talk about it. The abstract is the content. It'll be a fictional trip to a fictional moon that has a lot of aspects of science fiction built in and also a lot of aspects of real-world science. It'll be fantastic in a lot of elements, allowing children to fill in the gaps with what they could possibly imagine for our future, hopefully inspiring them to be like scientists and move us forward as a race. Now, the medium is going to be a virtual reality experience created in Unity for the Oculus Quest 2 that will allow the users to be able to pick up and interact with different objects and their surroundings and look out at the great moon beyond. Now this is our target demographic, 9 to 12-year-olds with an interest in science. Now how do we judge success for this capstone? Well, one is a post-user survey. Now what is that? It's a survey that the child will take right after using the headset in the classroom. It'll say basic things like, did you enjoy the experience? Did you learn anything? What did you take away? But the more important survey is one that will happen 2 weeks later that asks deeper questions. Have you thought about the experience after you used it? Did you do anything like drawing a picture or writing a story or think about space travel? So basically a survey that asks, did it prompt the child to take action in some way? So what is this all going to look like? Let's look at it. So first are these storyboards that storyboard the experience. It starts with a splash of the company, and then you can look out the window at the moon. Then you can look at a display panel that opens up and projects all this different information about possible crew listings that would be real world, and things like that. Then you can look over and see scientists working in the satellite doing real tasks that real scientists would have to do. And then you can also look at the spacesuits and interact with them. How do they work outside? And finally, let's talk about my prototype. Now, my prototype is two different VR experiences. One is a very basic setup that was downloaded into the Oculus just to show that items are interactable and something can be uploaded to the Oculus from my computer in a reliable and consistent way. The second prototype video is one that demonstrates just a simple geometric field that I made that shows that a new and interactive environment can be made for the experience that would be usable. Now, these are both important prototypes because they both demonstrate the feasibility of different concepts within my final Capstone project. Thank you, and have a great rest of your day.